Yo, what up YouTube, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be going over the Phasmophobia major update called Phasmophobia Ascension update. In here we've got welcome back, we've got another update for you, it's finally here. The grind update for the progression system and equipment tiers. Progression. A new leveling system has been added with the rates of progression, new unlocks, and a prestige system. For this system to function, all current players have been set to Prestige 1, Level 1, which means anyone who's played before this new update, you'll be at Prestige 1 and Level 1. This way, you can continue to play with your unlocked difficulties and locations, which means all the maps that you got are unlocked, and all the difficulties are unlocked. None of the equipment, though. You'll start with Tier 1 equipment, and you'll have to upgrade to Tier 2 and Tier 3. New players will start at Prestige 0 to Level 1. Warning, players found editing their levels will be banned. Legacy Badge. Upon launching the game for the first time, after updating, you'll be presented with a new screen to choose a unique badge with options based on your pre-update level. Once saved, this is uneditable, so choose carefully. Equipment. Upgrades. Each equipment now has 3 tiers, increasing our equipment from 22 to 60, which means 3 tiers on each, or 3 different tiers for each equipment. Tiers costs a large sum of money to unlock, but each tier will cost the same to bring into a contract. To upgrade a piece of equipment, reach the acquired level, go to the shop, and press the item UI title on the screen, then hit upgrade. Okay, so in the equipment, or the loadout tab here, if we click on this, we can see that for this dots projector, we need to be level 29 in order to get Tier 2, and then Tier 3 requirements is level 60 in the dots projector for Tier 2. And then they have, I'm just going to read this one because just to showcase it, a small laser pen that projects small beams into the environment, a handheld projector that can be used while moving, use it near ghost activity and scan for the physical form may appear. Spotlights are narrow, range is 5 meters, handheld, and it's electronic. So now when I go to do a no electronics thing, we can now tell if it's electronic or not. Let's go to smudge sticks. That's consumable, so it won't show as a electronic. Renaming. Items got renamed fingerprints to UV light, footsteps to footprints, candles and lanterns to firelights, matchbox and lighters are now igniters, smudge sticks and cleanser or incense is now, camcorders and movie cameras are now video cameras, glow sticks and UV lights or UV torches are now UV lights, sanity drink, pills, and shot are now sanity medication, head-mounted camera, flashlights, and goggles equals headgear, and weak or strong flashlights are now just called flashlights. Dots. We felt that dots was not very interactive evidence type, so we completely refactored it from the ground up. Instead of being a clone of the ghost that gets spawned in and revealed the dots, the following will happen. You will no longer get duplicate ghosts, or dots triggering ghost events, hunts, or interactions. I don't think I've had a problem with that, though. Ghosts with dots evidence can now enter a dots state where they are temporarily visible with an infrared light. During this time, they will wander towards the nearest player before disappearing. If the player is in the same room, Dots ghost photos will now count as normal ghost photos. So now you can take a picture of the dots, and it should just count as a ghost photo. Banshees will try to roam towards their target instead. That is a no. Firelights and igniters. You can now turn off firelights by pressing the use button again while holding it. And then firelights have now a duration for their effects and no longer stop sanity drain completely, with different amounts of sanity benefits per tier. Parabolic mic. When using the parabolic mic, you will now clearly hear all sounds you are aiming at with ranges, while all other sounds will be muffled. Incense. The interval in which the ghost checks if the incense is active is now much smaller, making repelling the ghost much more consistent. I believe that there was a bug that had you not being able to use the smudge sticks and you dying when using it. But I think that's got patched now, so I'll go over the next patch notes in the next video, which will be on Wednesday. Using incense during another incense effect will now reset the timer instead of doing nothing. Salt and ultraviolet. Salt will now only reveal footprints if the ghost has ultraviolet evidence. UV prints must now be charged by UV light to take a successful photo. Footprints will be affected by the ghost trails similar to footprints. Glow sticks can now be used again after they dim to shake and revitalize the light they produce, which I think I've done in a live stream, and I think I kind of like it. Thermometers and temperatures. Thermometers are now counted as a starter item alongside the other evidence items. The cold breath effect will now show at 5 degrees Celsius and below. But don't count the cold breath as freezing temperatures. You have to use your thermometer. You must now use a thermometer to find freezing temperatures at 0 degrees Celsius or below. Just do it below 0 degrees Celsius. Anything below 0 is called freezing temperatures. I don't know why they put it at 0 degrees Celsius, because you'll get it wrong. To receive a room temperature reading, you must now hold the use button for a short period of time, tiers 2 and 3 only. Room temperatures will now be much more consistent between players. Freezing ghosts can lower temperatures to 0 degrees. Non-freezing ghosts can lower the temperature to 1 degrees. Temperatures will now drop on 1.5 the current speed if the temperature is below the minimum weather temperature. Tripods and video cameras get max amount reduced to 4. Ghosts can now throw video cameras like other items. I've seen that before. Oh, it knocked down the camera. Ghosts can now rarely knock over tripods. Consumables. Some items are now consumable. This means if you use an item during a contract, mark it as a consumable in the shop. You will have to purchase it again when you leave. Disabling loses items and custom difficulties will not consume items. Words will be set to 0%. Crucifixes are all tiers. Firelights are 1 and 2 tiers. Igniters are all tiers. Incense 1 and 2. Salt all tiers. Sanity medication all. Photo system. Added a new photo camera system which takes into consideration the distance and view angle of the evidence. This will significantly change the quality of photos. So that means if you were to take a photo, you'd have to be much more closer to get a 3-star photo. Evidence and photos will now need to be closer and centralized to get a higher quality reward, which I just said. Reward changes. Several rewards have had their values adjusted to feel more rewarding and encouraging the completion of objectives. Rewards for all objectives, tasks, and weekly challenges have been increased drastically, which recently I did the Recent weekly challenge, which previously it was $3,000, now you get $5,000. We'll get $5,000 instead of $3,000. Any evidence or any experience earned will now give you the same amount in dollars. Reward in collecting the bone will no longer be affected by the reward multiplier. The new training mission, which we've already seen in last week's Monday's video. The training mission has been replaced with a brand new experience. To access it, the training button on the main menu. This version of the training is a custom built in warehouse with different rooms to show the players how to use each item of the evidence equipment, as well as to give tips and tricks on how to play the game in a controlled environment. That video will be up on the top right over here, and go click that to watch it after this video. And gameplay gamepad 2.0. Added gamepad UI buttons, control for the journal, voice recognition, text, and the main menu screen. Replaced gamepad UI navigation with a virtual on-screen cursor. Blocking players. You can now block other players. Blocking players will keep them permanently muted until you unblock them. To block or unblock a player, press the block button on their player card or on a recent players page. You can also unblock players by going to the block players tab in the pause menu. New. Upgraded the Unity engine for many performance improvements. I'm pretty sure that's what crashed my game 2 times and made things happen with OBS, which hopefully that got fixed in this update. Swapped from the forward to forward plus surrendering. With this turned on, multiple lights should no longer reduce your performance drastically. So far, I think a lot of issues have been occurring in the day it released, which, yeah, I think might be fixed. I don't know. We'll have to take a look. Added the help question mark button above the equipment list to explain the new icons to the players. Clicking on the equipment panel in the shop or loadout pages will now open a new window displaying information and buttons for upgrading. A small tier button has been added to the top of each equipment item in the shop, which you can now click to quickly cycle through unlocked upgrades. New gameplay. Descriptions and lore notes have been added to all equipment viewable on the upgrade screen. You can now set a loadout to auto buy. This will refill the items when finishing a mission, but only you have the money to buy all the missing items. Added range indicators while placing to the ghost writing books in Motion Sensor 3. Added platform specific icons to the player cards and recent players page. Player voices will now be affected by audio effects such as Sunny Meadows, hallway reverb. Added gamepad UI buttons, controls for the journal, voice recognition, text, and the main menu screen. Added a fade effect to the VR head collision. I have no idea what that is because I don't have VR. When the game loads into a map or the main menu, it will now be a smooth. It'll now always be smooth fade for VR and non-VR users. The ghost will now leave EMF when blown out a candle. Several equipment items can now be turned on or off by pressing use while aiming at them while they are placed. Added support for the quest Pro and added support for the 5 Focus 3, so I'm gonna assume that those are VR headsets. Changes. The in-game voice system has now been replaced with Photon voice. Replaced and added several new sounds for equipment. Moved the camera view for the head-mounted camera so that it is drastically easier to watch players' views. I have not seen this yet, but I know that the last one was a little bit hard to watch on. Crucifixes will now have a 50% range against demons instead of a set range. Incense will now have a 50% duration against Morai instead of a set range. Rebaked lighting in all locations, main menu, and training. Increased the height of the equipment list, battles in the lobby. Increased the penalty of choosing a monkey's paw in customs games. I think a lot of people were abusing that, most likely. I wish to see the ghost. It will no longer teleport the ghost in front of you. Instead, it will reveal it where the ghost is in its current position. Turning off flashlights in custom difficulties will now turn off all types of flashlights, dots, UV lights, etc. Updated all equipment loadouts for weekly challenges to accommodate tiers. Some are harder, some are easier. Reduced the chance of a ghost to interact with the door, as it is overpowering other interactions. Move the tarot cards in the collections cabinet so you can see them all at once at aspect ratios. Candles found inside it. Contracts can still be lit, but are no longer grabbable, and do not provide any sanity altering effects. The take a ghost photo objective will no longer count if you take a ghost photo when your journal is already full. Light ranges has been reduced and will no longer cast shadows to save performance. Improved the performance of the function of the fountain in Sunny Meadows. Moved distortion for VR parabolic microphone glass. Improved support for the HTC VR headsets. Replaced Turkish font to make it more readable. VR Smooth Monitor View has been renamed to the social screen mode. Several candles in the Sunny Meadows Chapel have been adjusted. Light range has been reduced and no longer cast shadows to save performance. The fallen candle, I'm just gonna say chandeliers or whatever, I don't know what that word is, will now start off and cannot be relit. Fixes. Players should no longer reach the maximum light count, resulting in lights not casting any visible equipment. Example, basement floors being black, dots not shown on walls. The weekly timer will now display the minutes and seconds left when there are less than 24 hours left. They will now have the correct interaction rate. EMF interactions will no longer cause incorrect collisions with objects. Players will no longer change will no longer change their order between the lobby, truck, and journal. Fixed a common crash when initializing VR. You can no longer repel the ghost for another player with an unlimited range. Example, lighting a smudge in the truck. They will no longer age when only a dead player is nearby. These will now do fewer ghost events as it ages instead of more. UKs will now have an increased hunt chance and activity for all talking players instead of just the host. Tanglewood Basement's audio effects have now been changed when they should. Tanglewood Basement's rooms bounds have now been accurate. Mirror will no longer count keyboard and TV remotes as light sources. The ghost can no longer get stuck at the back of the Woodwinds games tents. The Sunny Meadows camera icons will now show at the correct floor. The setup timer will now be set to 0 after using the Ouija board. The Ghost Mist event will now move towards you instead of above you. The Monkey's Paw can now be grabbed while in the Sunny Meadows chapel room across is on fire. Or while the Sunny Meadows chapel cross is on fire before you couldn't. Items during contracts will no longer break if you are holding an item in the main menu before loading. Oh, and because what you do to light it on fire is you need to have the summoning circle all lit up, and then the cross will blow up on fire, and then if you have the monkey paw with you, you wouldn't be able to grab it, but now you can grab it, so that's a good thing. Numbers and players' names will no longer be translated when using Arabic. Several items will no longer push you around while held and you are crouched. Fixed a crash with low-end hardware, causing quality settings to be set too early. Due to the new voice system, issues with desynced voice chat, voice delays, and poor voice audio quality are now significantly improved. The VR loading fade will be completely black. You can no longer walk through the bushes in Willow. Ghosts will no longer spawn, travel to unintended locations in high school. I never go in high school, so I don't really know that. Mimics will no longer always have cold breath if they previously mimicked a haunt you. Light in the summoning circle now will no longer turn lights on in the room where the ghost was previously in. Was that a thing? I didn't notice that anyways. Moonlight will no longer be visible in the Sunny Meadows basement restricted wing. I don't think I've noticed that either. The photo camera can now be detected by the ghost during a hunt when a non-host is using it. And then the High Priestess Tarot card will now correctly work in single player. Then there's been some known issues. Players sometimes do not leave lobbies correctly and are still visible, causing a bug where you have to restart. Changing your keybinds won't currently change your sticking notes in the new training mode. Some shiny surfaces reflections, such as a truck floor, will flicker on and off when viewing from a particular angle. Enabling MSAA will cause white outlines to appear around certain surfaces. Workaround, use FXAA or SAMAA. I don't know if that's going to be fixed. I don't know if that is fixed in this update. Let's take a look here. It doesn't look like I've seen anything about it in the patch or in the hotfix, so we'll just see about that. VR placement highlight is now incorrectly aligned in the truck and belt in most cases. Actual placement position is correct. VR headgear can now be toggled on/off when grabbed. Some equipment and fingerprints photos may be inconsistent. And then, of course, if you experience any issues and want to give feedback, please join the official Phasmophobia Discord. Thanks. And that's about it for this major update. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. If you did find this video informational, please leave a like, please subscribe, please turn on those bell notifications so you get notified when I upload. And the next patch notes and the hotfix video will be next Wednesday. This Wednesday. So, bye!